Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we're at number 4 in the series of relationships, and as I said, these are, although we're numbering these videos, they're not really in any particular order. You should take the first one first that means the most to you. And in this particular one, what we're saying is how to decide on whether you're going to come to the Philippines. Now, when you start deciding that, you are going to get away from the whole thing of looking for a partner, because the partner will only keep you happy within a certain within a certain area of activity, because life is not just about how you interact with your partner. There's all kinds of other things. You may really want to be able to go to a movie, and you can't because you live on an island that doesn't even have a road. You may want to see a football match. You may want to do all of these things live, which you may not be able to. And so these are things which you need to look at ahead of time. And once again, one of the best ways of finding out whether you could actually be good in this environment is to come here. Now, we've had, as I've said, we've had a couple of most recent visitors have made that step and come out here and spent a month. In both cases, they spent at least a month. And they came, and it wasn't all about going to bars and partying and getting drunk and having a great time and being, in effect, being like a sex tourist. It wasn't about that for them. They wanted to meet real people. They wanted to see what life in the Philippines was really like, as to what kind of life they themselves would be able to have. Now, if you have only a reasonable amount of financial resources, you may well be able, as a foreigner, to come to this country and create the kind of home environment which you're used to, because you can't get things done here. There are some beautiful houses, there are beautiful kitchens, everything can be done as perfectly, almost, as it is at home. And I've been in some of the houses of foreigners who have done just this. We stayed once for a couple of nights with one man, a Brit actually, and his idea of paradise was to be in the Philippines, was to live. He rented a very, very nice house in anyone's standard, no matter where you come from. He lived in a beautiful home, and it opened out, the backyard opened out of a gate onto the golf course. It was his kind of heaven, and you can have that if that's what you want. So be aware that there are all different kinds of lifestyles that are there. If you prefer the city, if you prefer a setup where you can get your car worked on perfectly by the dealership, you can go to a dry cleaners, you can go to a laundromat, you can go, all of those things that you take for granted in your own country are not always available here, right? So you may not be able to go to a golf course if you live in the what we call the province. Now, in the Philippines, you have the city, from Manila. You have Manila, you have Cebu City. These are all crowded cities with everything that you would expect to be able to get in a busy city. Manila especially, you can have everything that you had at home, including the traffic, which doesn't suit me. But if you go and live as Beth and I do, we live out on Bohol, and Bohol the infrastructure is not already set. It's not all perfect. There are not many police, which I find is good, because it means you go down the road, and unlike LA, if you had a tail light out, you would go down the road, you wouldn't get down there, you wouldn't get more than a mile and you'd be pulled up. If you didn't have a stoplight, didn't have a tail light, and it was night time, you would not be able to get back. And it's so, they have everything that is there to regulate the environment. Traffic is regulated. There's a traffic light at every junction. It's all so highly organized, but it also is strangulating, is how it feels to me. We have just recently got the one and only set of traffic lights in the area is now in Taliban. One set of traffic lights. We are not yet doing parking tickets. We don't have parking meters. We've only just started to regulate the parking, because they had Alturas, which organized and built a huge, not a mall, but certainly a very big store, and they organized all the parking differently, and now they are a little more organized on it now, and you can't just park anywhere. Not far off it though. So that may be something that you want to look at. And I've said this before in another video. When you are considering where you want to find a partner, the kind of place that she lives in, where her family is established, will be key to you having a happy wife and therefore a happy relationship. Because if you want to live in the city and you're determined to have your way, and you take her off to the city and she's not happy because she's always wanting to go and see, and we know someone like this, always off to the islands to see her folks, her extended family, and that's very important to a Filipina. So if you can find somewhere that you enjoy living, or would enjoy living, or enjoy visiting on a fairly regular basis, supposing you take your Filipina and you marry her and take her back home to whatever country you're in, America, Australia, the UK, and you live there, you would come back fairly regularly, so it may as well be somewhere that you're happy to be, right? So if you're someone who likes to be within fairly easy reach of the beach, then choose accordingly. Go to that place. Find someone who lives in that kind of, and is happy with living in that kind of environment, so that when you do come back and have these family visits, you will be in a place that you are happy to be in. It's a good tip. Okay, so how to decide? Look at the person that you're going to be with. Look at where she lives. Look at the kind of life that her family have. Could you fit in with that? Could you fit in with a easy, simple life as would be found in the province? If not, you really need to be looking somewhere else. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. This is our next step in trying to get you so that you've thought of everything. No such thing, by the way, but at least try. Bye for now.